today we're talking about The Coral Sea, 1942, by Richard Freeman. If the U.S. was going to win the Pacific War, something had to happen, and that something was going to be the Battle of the Coral Sea. This short book describes one of the most crucial sea battles and America's war against Japan in the Coral Sea. After the Japanese sneak attack on Pearl Harbor, America suffered the worst series of defeats in her history. Through Guam, Wake Island, the Philippines, and Burma, American forces were quickly driven out, making the Japanese military seem invincible. The author uses pilots' reports, ship's logs, and after-action reports, and his narrative brings the story to life as he describes modern naval warfare and America's first significant victory against the Japanese at Coral Sea. I sometimes felt like I was in the cockpit of the dive bomber, attempting to drop a 1,000-pound bomb on an enemy ship. His accounting of the devastation of the attack and the sinking of the USS Lexington is gripping and realistic. While this is a short book and he's right to the point, succinct, and straightforward, I've only read a few books that can equal this type of drama and realism of combat. In the space of about 100 pages, he tells of the courageous attempt by the U.S. Navy to block further Japanese expansion towards Australia and how fewer ships were available to confront the Japanese. It shows how our American sailors were prepared in the early months to confront the enemy in the air, as well as the capabilities of our Navy's planes, and how we weren't at that time an equal match for the Japanese. But still, the courage and fighting spirit of our sailors and naval aviators was enough to prevent Japan from expanding further south. The mark of a good author is how he can transport the reader to a time and place with just his words. Sometimes I felt like I was standing on the flight deck as each bomb went off below deck. I also like how the author sashayed between the vignettes of individual sailors and airmen's experiences and the big picture of the battle. One of the glaring faults was an absence of maps. Even though with my Kindle, maps don't work that well because they're small and hard to read, but anything would have been better than nothing. And another minor quibble I had was in the way he referred to the Langley as a carrier. While she was a CV-1 by this point, she was still more of a light carrier. I'm concerned that it might mislead people into thinking her loss was equivalent to the Lady Lex. I'd recommend this book for someone who already has read a general work on the Pacific War, but nothing on this specific battle. So overall, this is an excellent short review of the Battle of the Coral Sea. The author does a great job of putting the battle's strategic context, showing how important it was at the early stage of the war in the Pacific. For people that want a quick, straightforward read into early 1942 naval engagement, you'll enjoy this book. My review is a 3.5 out of 5 stars for leaving out some quality details, maps, etc. That's all I got for today. Griffin from legendsofhistory.org, and thanks for listening.